If you want to quickly see what ads your competitors are running on Google so you can learn from what already works, then this video is for you, because today I'm going to show you step by step how to spy on your competitors' ads for free, and I will also give you agency-backed tips and strategies on how to use that competitor research to help you better position yourself against your competitors and eventually improve your ad performance. Everything in this video is backed by real case studies and data from ROImonks, the performance marketing agency where I work. Knowing what your competitors are doing is so important because you can learn so much from them. Not to mention that your ads are going to appear alongside your competitors' ads. So it's always good to know how your ads compare to your competitors' ads. All of this and more will be covered in today's video, so let's get to it. First of all, how do you find your competitors' ads on Google? The number one tool to use is Google Ads Transparency Center. Here you can check all ads that a specific advertiser is running on Google. Just type the advertiser name or website and select the market or region. You will have a few filters here. You can select the time frame when the ads were running, the specific platforms, as well as the formats, such as image, text, or video. And you can scroll through different ads that your competitors are running right below. The key point here is that if you see the same headlines, descriptions, or the same keywords or key phrases appearing and reappearing again and again, this usually means that this type of messaging works for this competitor. So something similar might also work for you. The second method is to actually type your main targeting keywords on Google with VPN if you have one, or use isearchfrom.com if you're not physically in the location that you're targeting. This method has a unique advantage because you can see several competitors' ads at once, and you can also see which ad appears on top. And usually, you can learn much more from competitors who might have already nailed their ads and who are likely ahead of you in terms of their marketing. And for method number 3, I would suggest you go beyond Google Ads and also check social media ad libraries, because while of course you can see image and video ads your competitors are running on Google in the Google Ads Transparency Center, often brands will not have all their content on Google, so you might actually learn even more if you go beyond Google Ads. For Facebook and Instagram, we have Meta Ads Library. For TikTok, we have TikTok Creative Center. For Pinterest, there is Pinterest Ads Library. And for LinkedIn, we have LinkedIn Ads Library as well. These platforms are heavily focused on the creative and the visuals. So they can give you a completely different angle of competitor research in terms of hooks, emotional triggers, creative strategy, and so on. But unfortunately, many Google Ads advertisers simply ignore this. Okay, so these are the places where you can see your competitors' ads, but how do you find the right competitors to evaluate? First of all, the easiest place you can check is your auction insights on Google Ads for both search and shopping. See what competitors you are actually competing against in your auctions, because your ads are going to appear alongside their ads. Now, it's important to note here that if an advertiser is bidding on the same keyword as you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're targeting the same audience or the same ideal customer as you are. So once you've identified the list of competitors from the Auction Insights report, review their websites, review their social media, and narrow this list down to competitors with which you actually share the target audience or the ideal customer profile. Usually, that's determined by similar products or services, similar price points, similar locations, features, benefits, things like that. Because when your ideal customers or your potential leads are typing certain searches on Google that you are bidding on, this list of direct competitors are essentially the options that your potential customers are going to be considering, and it's inevitable on Google that your potential customers are going to be comparison shopping. So it's really important for you to always be aware of how your ads, your offers, and your brand are positioned on Google relative to your direct competitors. Now, I want to make a distinction here between the competitors that you need to track because they are your direct competitors and the competitors that you need to study, evaluate, and get inspiration from because these do not necessarily always overlap. And I'm saying this because, as a general rule of thumb, you want to learn from competitors who are a few steps ahead of you in terms of marketing and brand maturity. That's why, when it comes to inspiration and getting new ideas for your own ads, I would strongly suggest you take a step beyond your direct competitors on Google and look at other markets, meaning different cities, different states, even different countries. For example, if you're advertising in the United States, you can also examine what advertisers in a similar space are doing in Canada, the UK, Australia, and so on. You can easily discover new advertisers for this by using a VPN and typing keywords directly into Google or using a free service like isearchfrom.com. Because if you just look at your own market and only learn from your direct competitors, you might eventually blend in with them. You'll essentially all be doing the same thing and it will be harder for you to stand out. But if you find an interesting ad angle or a cool headline in another market, you can bring it to your market and it's going to help you to stand out because this might not be something your direct competitors are currently doing. A great tool you can use for discovering and tracking competitors is Foreplay. It's a paid tool, but it has a free trial, so you can try it out. It's really more social media oriented, but it has a great discovery feature where you can search by keywords, brands, or categories to discover social media advertisers and see what messages and ad angles they are using. And then you can go to Google Ads Transparency Center and check what these advertisers are doing on Google as well. So I will leave the link for it in the description below. Okay, so finding your competitors' ads is pretty easy. How do you actually take this information and turn it into something actionable, something that will enhance your ads? First of all, using the method that we just discussed, study your competitors' ads, and the two most important angles that you need to focus on when you're doing this are your competitors' messaging and your competitors' creative layout. By messaging, what I mean is, do your competitors repeatedly use specific keywords or key phrases in their ads? Are they really heavily focused on the offer or maybe on a specific unique selling point? Are your competitors trying to address a specific customer persona or audience? And so on and so forth. Often, when you see competitors repeat the same messaging or the same style of messaging over and over in their ads, it's a good indicator that this is working for them, and chances are that a similar angle might work for you as well. Let's take Squarespace, for example. If we go through their Transparency Center, you will see that almost every single headline is based around a call to action. Create your own website, try Squarespace, claim your domain, find your domain name, browse templates, start selling, build your own website, and so on and so forth. So, if you are promoting a website builder similar to Squarespace, this might give you an indication that call to action based headlines seem to be working well for them. Also, what I notice is that they frequently emphasize that it's free to try and how affordable it is. So these messaging angles are something that you can try in your ads if you're competing in the same space as Squarespace, no pun intended. An important note here is that I'm not trying to encourage you to copy your competitors with this. In fact, I want to discourage you as much as possible from copying them, especially from copying your direct competitors that are competing with you in the same auctions. Because if your ads are the same as your competitors' ads, then you're just going to blend in and it's going to destroy your results on Google Ads. Instead, your goal with this exercise is for you to identify what already works and also to help you stand out among your competitors. So after you've done all this competitor research, the second thing you need to do is identify your competitive advantages over your direct competitors, if you have any. Maybe you have a better offer, faster delivery, higher quality, better terms and conditions, more flexible payment plans, and so on and so forth. In this case, if you identify any competitive advantages, that's something you might want to emphasize in your ads. On the other hand, If, for example, your competitors have better offers or better prices, this is something you should avoid adding to your headlines and descriptions, because in many cases, you will be immediately disqualifying yourself with your ads alone. This is all very important, but to actually win your competitors' customers, knowing what your competitors are doing and even having competitive advantages by itself is not enough. You also need to understand your target audience, what they really care about, what their experiences might have been in the past, what emotional triggers resonate with them, what language they use, and so on. I have made an entire video about how to write catchy headlines and descriptions for Google Ads. I highly recommend you watch it. In there, I explain different methods in terms of how to research and understand your target audience. But in short, I would suggest for you to read customer reviews, both yours as well as your direct competitors that are available on public platforms like Trustpilot, Google Reviews, and so on. You can also read reviews or discussions on Reddit or Quora. You can even watch reviews of products and services on YouTube. The point is for you to learn what is most important to your ideal customer. What language are they using? What emotional triggers resonate with them? And if there is a mismatch between what your ideal customers really care about and what your competitors are talking about in their ads, you can also exploit it. So to summarize, the winning formula in terms of messaging here is threefold. First, you want to learn from your competitors what works for them and what your competitive landscape is like. Then, you want to identify your competitive advantages so you can strongly position yourself among your competitors on Google. And finally, you want to actually understand your ideal customer and what they care about, so your ads can catch their attention and speak directly to them. So we covered the messaging part of your competitors' ads, but there is another element of your competitors' ads that you should also take note of, which is their creative layout. I'm talking specifically about visual creative, because Google Ads is not just search and text-based ads. You also need to have images and videos in your Google Ads accounts as well. So check what image ads your competitors are running in terms of layout. Are they using simple product images, lifestyle images, or maybe they're using graphics and stock images? Are their creatives really focused on the center of the image, or are they maybe in the style of a split screen, like before and after style or something like that? Again, the idea here is that if you notice a certain creative pattern, and usually this pattern is visible in the creative layout, it's a good indicator that this layout is working for them, and maybe something similar but with your own twist will work for you as well. And an image layout is something you can take and easily incorporate into your ads as well. Just add your branding, your messaging, your unique selling points, etc. to this layout. And when it comes to your competitors' video ads, check both the format and what hooks and emotional language they're using to try to capture people's attention. Just like with text ads, look for patterns. For example, they might be running vertical Reels style videos specifically, or they might be focusing on user-generated content, or they might be focusing on certain hooks repeatedly again and again. So look for these patterns in both the format and the language and the messaging in the videos. And if you find something repeating, it's a good indicator that this probably works for them, and it's something that you might want to test out in your video ads as well. When it comes to image and video ads especially, I want to encourage you again to go beyond your local market and your direct competitors. Try to get inspiration outside of it. Look at other countries or even look at other industries as well that your ideal customers might still be relevant for. Because even if you emulate creative formats that already work for your direct competitors, you're still going to benefit from having a variety of different ad formats. Maybe your local competitor really nailed down an effective ad format, and maybe it's a good idea for you to use it as well, but you would never know for sure if this is the optimal format if you didn't test other formats too. Now that you've done all this research and analysis, How do you make the most out of it and put it to use effectively? Well, let's split this into two approaches for simplicity. The first one is a passive approach, and the second one is a more active approach. Under the passive approach, you would essentially just incorporate this knowledge and those findings into your own headlines, descriptions, image, and video ads, and this would be the end of it. Under this approach, you're effectively relying on your competitors' customers finding you because of your stronger positioning and better messaging. Under a more active approach, on the other hand, you go out and actively target specific competitors and try to take their customers from them directly. I've actually made an entire video about this strategy with a real case study from one of the accounts I manage, and that video got amazing reception, so I highly recommend you watch it if you're interested in targeting your competitors directly. So that's it. I hope you found this video valuable. If you need help with your Google Ads or your digital marketing more broadly, check out ROImonks links in the description. You might even catch me there. Thank you so much for watching up to this point. I'll see you in the next one.